welcome to the 94th episode of Recluse Horror. This is a daily horror movie review podcast for 5 more days. So just a little background on the project. Back on my birthday, I decided I wanted to watch and review a horror movie every single day. I have done so for the past 361 days, although only the last 94 have been podcasts. Before that, it was text reviews. So with me today is Sam.
Hey.
Whom I didn't say you were here in the right place.
Hey.
Usually I do that before I go into my description of the podcast.
Hey.
Hey.
Hey. Hey. Hey. Hey.
So today, do you want to talk about our sequence of events? Of movies that we watched?
Of existence?
The movies that we watched today?
Sure, if you want to.
Okay. So, do you want to tell a story, or do you want me to tell the story?
No, because I don't remember the name of any of it.
So we watched this one. It definitely said it was a horror short film. Do you remember that?
Mm-hmm.
It was called...
The title did.
Yeah. It was called The Gate, and it said, like, short horror film, awesome, or something like that, which is never, like, a good sign. But, but I was like, okay.
Totally tubular horror short film.
Yeah, I can't remember what it was, like scary horror, whatever it was, some descriptor horror film, which is never good, unless it's, like, a descriptor in the sense of being, like, a genre. That's usually not a good sign. So we watched it. It's about, it was a little like 4 minutes, a little over 4 minutes, yeah. Right? Barely over 4 minutes. And we're watching the thing, and, like, the sound is all fucking weird, and the whole thing is kind of weird. There's almost no dialogue, and, like, it doesn't matter. So we get to the end of it, and it says, like, coming soon.
Mm-hmm.
And we're like, what the fuck? Was that a trailer?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it was a trailer. Spoiler alert, it was a trailer.
And spoiler alert, it was a trailer for a movie that is also a short film that is 8 minutes long. But it was also just, and I'm not 100, I actually said this to Sam. I was like, fuck it. They're going to put out a trailer and call it a movie, call it a short film in the title, then we're going to review it as a movie. And then I looked into it, and it looked like that trailer was made by a third party. So somebody else, not involved in the production, either stole this trailer and posted it as their own short film, or at least posted it on YouTube as a short film and didn't mention who the original creators were, or they made a 4-minute trailer of an 8-minute movie.
Yeah.
Fucking weird. And then we were like, okay, well, I guess we'll just watch the full-length one when we kind of realize that, and we go to put it on, and my internet just kills itself. It 100% commits suicide. As soon as I'm about to get up to try to do something to fix it, it kind of starts working again or whatever. So we just abandoned that whole thing. Maybe we'll get back to watching that. I do actually kind of want to see what the real thing is like compared to, like, what that trailer was, because it was such a weird trailer. It was not a trailer. It was a short film that doesn't have an ending or a middle.
Which does like short films.
Well, yeah, which is a lot.
And now we're at.
What are we at?
What movie are we at?
Tap, tap?
Tap, tap.
Tap, tap.
Also, short film without a middle
or an end. This one is, I think it's got more of a middle or an end. That one was just super weird. But anyway, so we did actually finally watch one. It was Tap Tap. It was not third choice in that, like, okay, I guess I'll watch this. It was third choice in that, like, I was like, okay, I don't want to watch an 8-minute movie of a 4-minute trailer of 8 minutes of whatever. So we just watched something else, and we landed on Tap Tap. It's from 2018, and it's by Dan Allen, who we did one the other day. Actually, Sam was on it for this one too, called The Mime. That was pretty enjoyable. So how did you find this as a whole? I'm interested to know. The Tap Tap, not The Mime.
I thought it was okay. there's just certain things about it that are lacking.
Definitely.
But there are good things about it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm probably just okay for a short film, like a little better than okay.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it wasn't bad. It wasn't laughably bad, like some of these can kind of be.
Yeah. I would definitely, I'm definitely falling on the positive side for this one. It definitely had some problems. Like Sam sort of alluded to before, it doesn't exactly have an ending. I would say it pretty much has a middle, but it definitely doesn't really have much in the way of an ending. It doesn't exactly fall into the trap of like doing the exact same thing as every horror movie. There's some things that are different. There's some things that are well done, actually quite well done. So yeah, I definitely count this as a positive. The positives outweigh the negatives to me quite a bit. And one thing that I always like when I'm seeing something, I mentioned this is by Dan Allen, who did the Mime.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing that I always like seeing when I see repeat filmmakers, when I see multiple projects, is when I see, it doesn't have to have, fewer problems even, but having different problems means that you're actually working through stuff and trying to do something different and rework something.
Yeah, and it doesn't feel the same as that.
No, not at all. The mood is different. The tone is different. The level of horror that it's hitting is a totally different note. So it's really cool to see that. There is probably one problem that I would say was common to both of them, but they were fairly minor problems in both of them. And they aren't exactly, I don't even know if problems is the right word for them.
Yeah,
but
just maybe something you didn't like.
Yeah, something I didn't quite like as much as I felt like I could have in both of these movies. But overall, I did really like this one. And unlike the Mime, where I really didn't feel, at any point, I didn't really feel much of anything. I remember like liking parts of it and like kind of laughing a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But this one, there were a few moments when I was like, maybe not dread, but definitely anticipation for what was going to happen. Like it actually did stir some of that emotion or feeling or whatever you want to call it. And that is not something that's super common when I watch horror movies in general. So that's always, anytime I feel anything or get any sort of a reaction, I'm like, okay, pretty good.
See, and that's probably why I didn't like it as much as you. I thought it was pretty like standard in that respect of setup, horror payoff. Essentially, we set it up, horror payoff, then that's the short film, which is so common with these.
True, yeah.
I the parts I liked was the lighting. It's mostly supposed to be lit by a candle.
Yes,
and that looks really cool. I also thought just the shots of. The shots of where things are set seemed pretty tough to get the space they needed, but they did a good job.
Yeah.
And the acting, not that the actor had to do a ton, but I understood what was happening. There's no dialogue.
No dialogue at all.
And all those things add up to me being like, yeah, that was like cool,
Yeah, that's worth the 3 minutes.
Yeah,
and the price of admission.
Yeah,
which is nothing. See, it's funny that you mentioned the lighting too, because the lighting was something that in the Mime, was a little bit of a down, like a shortcoming.
It was a little unrealistic / not great.
It felt a little tiny bit washed, and I just feel like when in those tunnels, it's filmed in one of these like underground tunnels, like a walking tunnel that you would go through. And it just feels unrealistic because those are always lit to shit. They're always so bright. In my personal experience,
unless none of the lights are working.
Yeah, if somebody like bashed them all out or something,
or they're dead or whatever.
Yeah, they usually have to get changed because the city can get.
And some of them don't have lights.
Yeah,
the long tunnel that
that was in.
Those all usually have lights, but I've been in shorter ones and there was no lights, and it's like, this is fucking weird.
Yeah. But in this one I also felt, and it could have just been like, okay, so we watched this on my HD screen downstairs, which is one of those things that like, I've mentioned this before, but if you look at it at the wrong angle, it looks darker. So it's possible it was just from where I was sitting. But I also felt this felt a little bit darker than it needed to be and a little bit washed. Again, I think it might have been where I was sitting. I meant to get up and move, but I was like kind of like hooked into this, like what was happening.
Yeah, even still, it makes more sense.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
With the feel of this film.
Yeah. And that's another thing that I enjoyed, and we need to synopsize this after this. But another thing that I enjoyed is like, it makes sense. The candle thing, the reason that there being candles actually makes sense. So how would you synopsize this?
Okay, so there's this lady, and she's hella goth and wants to light candles all around.
She's not hella goth, by the way.
And be cool.
And be cool.
Yeah, and then that's the end of the movie.
There's a girl, and she's taking a bath, and it turns into a horror movie. That's what I'm gonna say. So...
We could have went the other way with that one, huh?
Yeah.
Nothing. Never mind. Cut that. Cut it out.
Why?
Cut it out.
You talking about it turns into a porno movie?
Hello.
Is that what you're talking about?
No!
All your porns?
Yeah.
All your porns?
That's how porno movies start, too.
So yeah. So she's got these votive candles, and I love that because, like, that's a real thing. Like, even if you're not somebody who, like, relaxes in the bath very much or whatever, like, pretty much everybody I know at least 1 or 2 times in their whole life has lit those votives and taken a bath with him. I have. You have, Sam, right?
Probably. But I'm hella goth, so...
I feel like you've borrowed candles from me for that. When I bought a big pack of votives.
Don't worry about what I'm doing with my candles.
Okay, I guess that's true. I don't know that you're using them in the bath.
How often do I have to say this? Don't worry about what I'm into. We're talking about a short film. Or maybe a movie.
Uh-huh.
And that's it.
Yeah?
Don't worry about my personal stuff.
Don't worry about it. We're so now that we're podcast acquaintances, we're no longer friends anymore. I can't even talk to you about bath time.
You never could, and we've never been friends.
All right. Well, I'm quitting the show if we can't even talk about bath time anymore.
Okay, that's fine with me.
All right, I'm gonna quit in like
the pay sucks
in like 4 days, 5-ish days.
That's right. I'm bringing up the money again.
You're bringing up the money. Sam just all about the money.
That's right.
It's really something. So yeah. Anyway, the votives totally make sense. I've done it, and I'm not like one of those like bath time is sacred, gonna sit in a bubble bath and soak and drink wine or whatever. I'm not that person. Like, I like to read in the bath sometimes. I haven't done it in a long time because my bathtub is fucking terrible. It's just teeny tiny thing.
Yeah.
Tell me I'm wrong. You've seen my bathtub. Yeah. It's tiny.
I've also had tiny bathtubs
in
the past.
It's awful. So yeah, not exactly a place you want to be reading, and if you ever plan on like getting out of the bathtub, you may need assistance. But yeah, so, it's a thing. For the 15th time, it's a thing. How did you... So you said you enjoyed the acting. Was there anything about the acting that you didn't enjoy?
No, there's not much to it.
Yeah.
I don't think I necessarily said enjoy. But I got it, and I thought it was fine and good.
Yeah.
There's just very little to it. You know, so
and
I
didn't need any more.
Yeah, I did not enjoy it, but it did exactly what it needed to do to portray what was happening in the film, so...
Right, yeah.
So in that sense, I enjoyed it.
Yeah. It didn't actively make you angry at anything or be like, that's phony.
Or, it wasn't amazing. It's not that, like, it would be hard to make that part amazing.
Yeah.
It's kind of what I'm getting at.
Right, yeah, yeah. So, yeah, as I said, there were some parts where I, like, kind of felt, like, maybe a little bit, like, anticipating what was happening next. Like, it's coming, something is coming. And they do a good job of, like, building in that mood. I thought that was probably one of my favorite parts. There's that anticipation or just, like, a little bit of edginess that you get because, this is a horror movie. It's clear that it's a horror movie, not just because you clicked on something that said horror movie. and you don't know exactly what it is. It could be a number of things, and I don't know. I think that was really my favorite part. It built very well, and it's something that is very hard for filmmakers to achieve on any level. So whenever I feel anything like that, I'm always like, well done. Even though, like Sam said, this probably doesn't end like the greatest. It's not the worst ending, and there's some cool things about the ending, actually. But like as a whole, like the events taken on their own is just kind of like, okay. Would you?
Yeah, no, that's exactly how I feel. Okay, here's a few of the like things that weren't quite great for me, and yeah, some of the lighting was too dark. I think,
yeah.
and that's just
again, it could be my monitor.
That's what's gonna happen when you're trying to light everything in the dark with just candles.
Yeah.
Also, I wasn't I wasn't like a giant fan of the music and score. It was a little like cliche sounding, and I think that like maybe just a little too like it got the point across, and you knew what was happening, and you're like, this is a horror movie. And that's what kind of took me out of it. It's like, we're definitely in a horror movie.
You know what's funny? I have literally no memory of the music
yeah,
of this. Do you know why I have no memory of it? Because the only thing I hear in my head is a band of yours that we were listening to a minute ago.
Wow. Is
that
horror.
The soundtrack for that?
It would be cool, but no. It's a horror movie soundtrack. It's just, just kind of standard.
Mm-hmm.
And that's going to be expected from horror movies, but it's one thing that if it was different or done a different way, they would make it exceptional, opposed to just the way people make horror movies.
I did like the sound though. The sound design,
the sound design was good.
Was pretty good.
You could hear everything. Everything sounded like what you would think it would sound like. I'm specifically talking about the effects and the music.
Yeah, which I have just no memory of at all, which is funny because I remember the sound from the one before that because it was so weird. There were so many problems.
This did not have that at all. The sound design was very good.
Yeah, there was one problem with this sound, and I realized why they did it. It was clearly an intentional choice. I won't say it is what it is because I would kind of consider it a mild spoiler, but there was basically a sound effect that was removed that really probably should have been in there, or at least it would have been there in real life, and they chose not to put it in there for a pretty good reason. But I did notice its absence pretty strongly. I was like, that's not how that would happen.
Yeah, right.
It's not how that would sound. And yeah, but it was noticeable even though I understood why it happened. Only problem with this, that's the only problem with the sound design, as I recall, if we're subtracting the music, because like I said, I remember literally nothing about the score. Sam's bands are just so catchy. They're just right in your head. So yeah.
Yeah.
They are. They're all in my head. Something else. Well, how did you like the effects in so much as like there were effects?
And this leads into the second problem I had. It's not, and it's understandable since it's a short film, and it is very short, is that it doesn't have a story.
No, not.
So there's not much effects in that way. Like, they're good. But that just reminds me about how there's no story.
There's not a thing here.
Yeah. So that's kind of weird.
It's mood building, but okay. The movie that we watched the other day, that what was it called? The Silent?
Night Terror?
No, not Night Terror. The one a few days ago.
This kind of has some night terror-y aspects to it.
Yeah, it does. It does. I'm talking about the one that was like all B-roll.
Oh.
Do you remember that one?
Yeah.
It's definitely not that level of, because see, the problem with that one is it's all mood building and nothing really else. But that's like 11 minutes long or something.
Yeah, but the thing about that one is you could try to pull answers from the many shots of B-roll they showed you. This is like one location, one thing happens, something happens. That's it.
I think you're thinking of a different one. I'm not. Oh, no, not the Silent. Sorry. The Silent was good. The the one with the little girl?
Yeah.
Not that one. The one where the kid is missing. The guy is missing.
Oh.
That's the one I mean.
Right, in the house.
Yeah, in the house.
Yeah, that you couldn't get a lot from.
That's the one I meant. The Silent was good.
Okay.
The Silent I did like. You can pull stuff out of that. There is meaning in that.
Yeah, there could be, even if it wasn't intentional or was intentional or whatever.
Yeah.
There's
parts of it were clearly
there's that argument. This doesn't have that.
Yeah.
It's this thing happens, the thing's over.
Yeah.
And there's no rhyme or reason except for what you make up in your head.
Yeah. Yeah. And this one just is like, it's a variation on a pretty standard formula that we've griped about on a number of episodes. I won't let you know which formula because that kind of does like, it is not the exact same thing, but it is a variation on the yeah, it's very, very similar. It has the problem that a lot of short films do, which is that you don't end the movie with any idea of like
what happened.
Yeah, it's like, okay, that could have been interesting, except for that this is like basically an extended trailer.
Yeah, right. And then we're like, see why that happened in the actual movie.
In the actual movie,
it doesn't exist.
Exactly. Honestly, for as a way to practice mood building, as a way to test out a couple of effects that they may have been wanting to test, or to figure out how to deal with like filming conditions when you're filming near water or filming actors in water for long periods of time. Like, these are all very good things to be testing in a short film. And I'm sure they got a lot of experience out of it. I think this actually did come out with, like, even if they were just doing it to test, how those things work, if any of those things were what they were trying to test, like, there is actually that mood building to me. It really made it. It was very good. Mood is very hard to build. And it did it well. So to me, it stands on its own. Whereas most of those other movies, there's no mood. They don't really build. And then, something happens, and then as soon as it happens, the movie is over. Like that.
Yeah, this is like the best case scenario of that style of short film.
Yeah, absolutely. And this was like, it was with the credits, it was like 3:26.
Yeah, it was very short.
So, we have seen films with beginning, middles, and ends that only took 3 minutes, beginning to end. I have reviewed them before. But as far as 3-minute short films go, this is very good. And it's nice because the pacing is slow without being like literally like 11 minutes of nothing happening.
Yeah.
like that other one that I don't remember the title of that was not good. Very pretty though. But yeah, this one I liked. It seemed to be a part of a project, like a running project by this guy, the director Dan Allen, or at least he's a part of the project. I don't know if it's his project or if he's just a part of it. Of 3-minute horror stuff. So he appears to be a part of that. Yeah, I don't know. It's pretty neat. I would definitely be interested in seeing more of this guy's work and this group's work, because it's pretty. Like, both of those pieces that I liked while they had problems, or both of those pieces that I watched, I liked them while they did have problems. I'm just never going to say this in the right order, but that has all the right things in it. What I said is right. Samuel's just nodding at me. He's being really distracting this whole podcast. I don't know why he's choosing to be distracting over there. He's like fighting things over there and then doing other gross stuff. Then he's nodding really loud and now he's laughing behind me. He's like that kid in class who just like clearly has ADD, but his parents haven't gotten him diagnosed yet. That's him today.
Not even.
That's it. That's him today. That's him today. He's shaking his head vigorously now. Now he's shaking his head vigorously. I don't even remember what the hell. Anyway, I would definitely be interested in seeing more of this person's work. When I stop doing daily episodes, I'll probably start watching more of his stuff and just, See, that's the thing that I haven't really decided yet, Sam. And maybe you can help work me through this.
We're transitioning the podcast into a Dragon Ball Z spoiler cast.
Spoiler
We're
cast.
spoiling.
You know I can't do
spoiling all of the Dragon Balls. Goku won. All of them. All of them.
All of them. It's true. Goku won all of them.
He won.
That's why that show sucks. Sucks.
You're off the podcast.
Well,
the show is great, but Goku won all of them.
That's the thing that I fucking hate, is I don't like Goku. I'm just not a Goku fan. He's too much of an idiot in, like, every possible sense of the word. And now he's hiding in a blanket. I just don't even know what's happening anymore. I don't know who this person is. If anybody wants him.
Nobody does.
Nah, that's okay. I'll keep you.
Nobody does.
I'll keep you. But yeah. He wins everything. He's really uninteresting and really annoying. And then he wins everything,
we're
too.
still talking about Dragon Balls. Yeah, they were talking about this movie.
Nah.
I was like...
Sam perked up because he was like, I wonder why she's saying this.
But anyways, I want to start talking about other movies that we had reviewed.
Yeah.
And getting through those once we're done.
Me too, yeah.
Because there's a lot of actual movies you watch instead of short films.
Yeah.
Which I actually enjoy talking about way more.
Yeah, than the short films. I like talking about the short films.
I do not. If you haven't noticed, I do not like talking about them. I like watching them. Talking about them there's only so much you can talk about.
Apart because
and you don't want to spoil it, so there's not a ton to talk about.
Right.
But there's actually a lot of movies that I'm interested in talking about on I'll call it the backlog of movies that either I hated, so I want to talk about, or that I loved that I want to talk about.
Yeah, and then there's a lot in the middle.
Which I do not want to talk about. I probably don't remember them.
Yeah, I know. That's why I when I do those, I use my text reviews with it, because a lot of those I don't remember super well either if they fall in the middle. Unless they had one specific aspect of them that was really good or really bad. So yeah, anyway, the thing that I was going to ask you before you interrupted me and then interrupted me again. And then interrupted me. Was, so, you know, I basically, I haven't been watching any horror films any other times, or watching any other short films, because I feel like I want to review them, right? So, I really want to watch some of the people's stuff that you know, I've watched.
Just like a few of them.
And I feel obligated to review them, but I can't sit there and review, like, I watched 12 horror short films today. I'm going to talk about all of them.
Good.
Like, yeah. Do you think I should just start talking about, like, maybe I could just bring up ones that I really like and mention them, or like talk about specific directors or something like that, like watch a number of things from a director and be like, this is my impression of their work. Yeah. A lot of it is good.
Excuse us, or bad. Listeners, for our short production meeting in the middle of this podcast.
Yeah, we haven't really discussed this other than both of us have discussed, like, we definitely want to go through my old reviews of when I started the show. If you haven't been listening since the beginning.
You skipped the beginning?
Yeah.
He's like, skip.
No, yeah, I don't mean the beginning of the episode. Oh. I mean the beginning of the series. Remember, we were doing one horror movie that we watched that night, and at least one that I had reviewed previously in text that you had seen. Yeah, most of the time.
You need to think of a better name, but...
Then the backlog?
Yeah, the backlog.
The archives.
The Batkives. Yes.
The Batkives?
Yeah, Batkives.
Batkives. Okay.
One word, hyphenated.
Batkives.
In all capitals.
Batkives. Everything you type is in all capitals.
Because I'm always yelling at you.
Oh, is that what you're doing? Anyway. But yeah, we used to do that, and then those movies are really time consuming to talk about, because I wrote such specific things that every paragraph, or, you know, sometimes several sentences per paragraph, there's something to talk about there and discuss, because Sam may not have the same opinion as me, and so it ends up, those episodes end up being really bloated, which is not something I could do every day, so we kind of stopped doing those. Especially since I started the new full-time job with, like, full-time ass hours and all of that, so. But yeah, anyway, we'll figure it out. Like, other than that, there's no specifics. I still haven't decided whether I want to do once every 2 weeks or once every week. I'm gonna definitely start every 2 weeks, once I start getting into, like, a routine with it. So, that much I can start with, and then I may shift to weekly pretty quickly, but I don't know. Haven't decided.
We might have some Backchives episodes.
We also might have some Backchives episodes as well.
Webisodes. Podisodes.
Pods.
Yeah, pods for you. Each episode's one pod.
One pod, I see.
We've done 97 pods.
90.
What number are we in?
93?
93 pods.
94. We have done 93 pods.
That's what cool kids say, pods.
They call them pods.
So, like, you've been listening to the pods lately?
Oh, yeah.
The new
Bright Sessions pod.
Yeah.
Hecka.
I haven't watched that.
Yeah, I know.
I haven't watched that pod.
You gotta watch it. Bro.
Say a pod I watch.
You only listen to the Super Best Friends cast. Pod.
Yeah. That's
the Super Best Friends pod.
Super Best Friends cast at Super Best Friends pod station. I'm a big fan.
It's true. Sam is a big fan.
I'm a Liam.
Sam's a Liam. If you knew the Super Best Friends, then that would be kind of funny.
And sad.
And Rip.
R.I.P. R.I.P. Oh.
Yeah.
Pod.
Yeah. We're all Liams.
I give it 2 pods.
You give it 2 pods.
Remember when we reviewed Pod?
Oh, yeah.
Maybe we should make a nostalgia pod.
Where we just reminisce about our own, about that one movie?
Are we gonna reminisce about our own podcast? You're like, remember that episode? That was like classic.
Classic.
And then he actually jumped the shark.
And it was the best one. All right, so we should continue talking about this movie.
I was doing all this other shit, so I wouldn't have to continue talking about it.
Yeah.
Did I do good?
No.
Ah.
No, we're pretty much done. There's not really much else to talk about without spoilers, which is something we say towards the end of every podcast. Sometimes towards the middle, and then we find more things to talk about. But really, the only thing else that I can talk about, other than, like, I've said that the mood is good like 58 times at this point, is that there is one particular effect towards the end of it, and it's not like an effect really in the traditional sense, but there's one effect thing towards the end of the movie that I actually really liked, and that's pretty much it. I can't say what it is, and there's no way to discuss it, and probably half the people, that saw it would actually think I was talking about a different effect than the one that I'm talking about.
I think that.
Yeah. Sam, what are you doing? He's entirely wrapped up in a blanket, and then I look, and I can't even see his face, and then I look over, and he's just sitting there with his tongue stuck out. For no reason at all. Sam, how many drugs did you take today? Was that like 6 drugs?
I've been drug-free from 1983.
Is that right?
Yes.
That's pretty funny, because that's not the year that you were born, but it is near it.
What do you want?
I think somebody replaced Sam with a pod. It's weird it took me this long to realize it. I wonder when you got switched. When did you switch?
I switched. I made the switch.
You made the switch.
To green tea.
I was thinking about making the switch. Actually, fuck no, I wasn't, but I like coffee. I like green tea too. Yeah, green tea's super good too. I would never use it for caffeine though.
Put them together.
I should just start putting green tea in my coffee or coffee in my green tea.
Either. Together they taste great. And less filling.
So I don't really think we have anything else to say about this one, do you?
Really?
We keep trying to get back to the movie.
How'd you come up with that one? I'm replaced by a pod, okay. You're the pod.
You're the pod. What is wrong with your sock?
Nothing is wrong with my sock.
Sam is definitely a pod. Please send help.
What could be wrong with my sock?
I don't know, but it doesn't take 10.5 minutes to get it fixed. What are you doing?
Nothing.
You're either on drugs or you're a pod. Tell me which so I can get you help.
Maybe it's both.
Oh man, you're on the pod drugs? What are you doing? This is day 5 of Sam fixing.
Why are you even worried about my socks for? Do your pod. Let's finish the pod.
I can't do my pod until you.
We're gonna have to edit so much of this pod.
I'm not editing any of this. This is documented proof that you are a pod.
What? Just because I care if I look good.
You're like, I can't even describe what you're doing.
It's just a sock. You can only do so much good.
It doesn't make great radio because it's indescribable what he's doing with his sock right now. Also, this won't be broadcast over the radio, so it's not radio anyway. Is it done?
Yeah.
Is your sock pod friendly now?
It's pretty done.
What are you doing now?
Come on! Let's end this pod.
I can't. I cannot. I literally cannot with you.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Oh my god. Have you ever worn socks before, pod?
They don't have socks up in my pod.
Oh, I see. Is it done now? Is it perfect? Is it everything that you wanted? Oh, it does look pretty cute. It does look pretty cute, I'll give you that. Oh man, I should really cut this, but I'm not going to cut any of it.
That's great.
So how about that, Raul?
We are now on Patreon. Send your Patreon patrons to Recluse Pod at Recluse Pod.
At Recluse Pod.
Yeah.
We do not
send him to the Recluse Pod.
No, he's back on the socks again. So we do have to end this eventually. I don't know what's happening. Somebody send help. If somebody has like some kind of a test that I can do, is there something I can jab him with that'll let me know? Or like, I don't know, a psychic medium or something that can tell whether he's possessed or something by the ghost of a I don't even know what a cobbler? There's never been a profession where you just make socks, is there?
Well, probably, but not one where you just play with your socks, which is what I'm doing.
Do you have a foot fetish now?
Sock fetish? I didn't have a sock fetish. I was really bored. I want this part to end.
You almost said podcast.
What is a podcast? What is a podcast, Grandma? We're on that new shit. If you call a podcast one more time, you can meet me outside then. How about that? Remind me to put in the show notes that like if we start talking about the sock stuff, we have nothing left to say. So that I can warn people away. Because I'm not cutting this. I should cut it. Yeah, you should. Alright, so that's our episode. It's mostly about socks, but we did also talk about a short film. And then a not trailer for a short film. A pirate trailer or some shit. But that was sort of our review for Tap Tap from 2018. Again, that's on the Dan Allen YouTube channel, which is actually really cool. Both of the ones that I've watched from there have been worth a damn. So I would definitely suggest that. And again, he's doing that. He's somehow involved with the 3-minute film project. Those 3-minute films, it sounds like they maybe come out every week. I really should have done some research, but I got distracted by Sam turning into a pod person. I think I subconsciously knew it was going on.
Yeah, so that's our episode. Now he's messing with his pants for the update, everybody. So thank you so much for listening. If you are an expert on aliens or demonic possession, or you know someone who is, please direct them to the show. I don't know what he's doing. I don't even know what he's doing anymore. Sam, you're fired. So, yeah, I don't even know. How do I end this show?
Patreon, our pod.
We don't have a Patreon.
Send the pod. Why not?
Because
you can Venmo me pod money.
It's called Venmo.
Me pod money, or PayPal, or you can go to my Amazon wish list, which gets really dark, real fast.
It's mostly socks. Yeah, anyway, thank you so much for listening. If for whatever reason you enjoyed this fucking nonsense, this has gotta be the weirdest episode. I don't know what now he's taking the sock off. It's too much.
It's only halfway off.
I know. You have to show a little bit, but you don't,
you don't want to give it all away.
Alright. To the pod listeners?
Yeah.
Okay. If you would like to help out the show for some reason, like I said, you can share it with somebody. Hopefully somebody who can help Sam. And,
you don't want to show the toes. Those are the testicles of the foot.
Oh, I see the ball of your foot. Very fetching. Sam actually has really good arches. It's not fair. It makes me very, very jealous. And it always has, since I met him. And we've known each other for a very long time now. Yeah, if you would like to share the show for whatever reason, you can direct them to any one of a number of places if they don't use the same platform as you. That's YouTube, Player FM, Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, Podcast Addict, and pretty much any podcatcher out there. Or you can reach out to us on social media at Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, or you can email me at reclusehorror@gmail.com. If you happen to know why somebody would suddenly start behaving in the manner that I've described, I know I didn't go into full detail about all the things he was doing to his socks, but it was very, very frightening for me. That was much more frightening than most of the short films that I've seen. And, and he's still making faces and wiggling his toes, and his sock is barely on now, and I don't know what to do. Please send help. Sam! How do you rate this? What's your rating for this?
I had something for this. Shit. I had something for this. Hold on. Holding. Fuck. I can't remember.
You can't remember?
I had one earlier, but then we started talking about socks for some reason. And now I can't remember it. It was good, too.
You're more sock than human at this point.
Or maybe it wasn't good. I don't even remember anymore. Do you have one? Maybe yours will remember me mine. What is yours? Oh, do you not have one? Oh, I remember mine.
What was it?
I give it 5 Mr. Bubbles.
5 Mr. Bubbles.
Do you remember Mr. Bubble?
I do. What was it was it Parks and Rec where they were using Mr. Bubbles for laundry? The sock is off, everyone. The sock is off. Sock off. How are we gonna go to the sock hop now?
Mr. Bubble. I give it 5 Mr. Bubbles.
5 Mr. Bubbles. Alright, I'm gonna give this one fucking pod person host. That's what I'm giving it.
One pod?
One pod person host. One body snatched or snatched. This has nothing to do with body snatchers, by the way. I'm just gonna go ahead and put that out there. But Sam has definitely been snatched by a pod person.
Maybe I have the snatch of a pod person.
I don't know what that would look like, but I would be interested on a scientific level.
It's probably on their feet, though.
Oh, man, no! Samuel!
What?
Say goodbye.
Goodbye.
Oh, goodbye.